Well, hello again, and welcome to Templates for Change, Nature's Laws and Harmonies, Part 5. And this is an introduction to the fivefold system, the fivefold pentagram star, and its interconnection to the human, as well as to the universe and to nature. And it's also a very ancient system, as we'll see. Okay, well, let's get started. Now, we all know of the idea, don't we, of the human being a pentagram. And we can easily connect to that from what many people know is Leonardo's famous Vitruvian Man. And there is the design of the human pentagram there. But this is also found in our universe in interesting ways and also in the basic human design and structure. And this idea of the fivefold star has also been used traditionally for thousands of years, particularly by the Chinese and also by the Indians. And it links the design and structure of the human with nature and uses this for all kinds of human healing processes. So we're also going to have a look at that. Now this of course is just a brief introduction. Obviously there's a whole vast history and a whole vast explanation that can go with all this, but this is just a brief introduction just to open up these ideas. Now, starting in the universe, the five appears here in quite a remarkable and rather unusual way because we've discovered that in our universe there are actually only five symmetrical 3D shapes, and these are often called the Platonic solids, and these are symmetrical because each face is the same regular polygon, i.e. a shape with straight sides, and the same number of polygons meet at each corner. And so you can see all five of them here. I won't go into the complicated description of them, but isn't it fascinating that five appears in our universe in this interesting way, and then of course also appears in the human design as well. Now in the human design we have discovered, haven't we, that there are four chemical bases that make up RNA and DNA separately. But actually between the two of them they share five chemical bases because one each is different in each of RNA and DNA. And so we've set out the five system here, the fivefold system, that goes to make the basic structure of life, of living matter. Four in each, but five altogether. And when we go to look at the human being, we find, isn't it remarkable, we have five senses, five ways of recording the world through our physical systems. Sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. And of course we have five sense organs that connect to that as well. And psychologists tell us that it's quite commonly understood that the different human psyches have five different natures, and they describe them as open, conscientious, extrovert, agreeable, or neurotic. So that's something that we've discovered. And again, going back to our senses, well, there are five basic tastes that we now know. Sour, sweet, salty, bitter, and savoury. So this fivefold key nature really is built into not only the universal design, but also in the human design, not only in the origins of life, but how human beings interact with and connect to the world around them. And this, of course, can be extended further when you start looking at the healing processes of humans and how each of these operates to help the human system. Now, what is interesting is this fivefold principle is not just known to modern science and in the human design, but it's actually been part of the traditional systems in India and China, tracing back several thousand years. And in these systems, this fivefold principle with five key colors is not only part of the universe and nature, but is also fundamental to human life and health too. So now here we're going to look at the elements connected to nature, but there's a whole cosmology about this which you can explore in more detail, which obviously we don't have the time to go into now. This is just meant to be a brief introduction and to show the importance of the fivefold principle, and you might say the law of five or the pentagram, in universal, natural and human design. Now, their color system, it's been described as green, yellow, blue, red and white to each part of the pentagram. And the Chinese elements are wood, earth, water, fire and metal. And the Ayurvedic five elements are air, earth, water, fire and space. And again, they link that to the human system as well as to the universal system. And the Chinese also have a different sense of climate and seasons that relate to the elements and to the human. Wind, humidity, cold, heat and dryness, and in the seasons spring, late summer, winter, summer and autumn. So they're slightly different, but they're more interconnected to the human interaction to nature, you might say, rather than nature's fourfold cycle of growth, which is slightly different. So there we are. We have the five in the universe, the five in the human design. We have five in very ancient traditional systems. When we start looking into the natural world, well then we find those fivefold colors everywhere, and these are just some pictures to represent it. So red is at the head and have green and yellow on the hands and blue and white in the feet in the pentagram structure. So there we have it. That's a simple introduction to what is an important and powerful system of the fivefold design that no doubt, as we look at other presentations in Templates for Change, we'll be talking about from time to time, particularly, for example, in the Creating Healing Gardens series of presentations, where you can create a whole garden built around this fivefold design if you wish to. Okay, well, I hope that's been interesting. And the next one we're going to look at is going to be the beautiful spectrum and the rainbow, that sevenfold system, which again is so important in the natural world and in the human sphere. Well, just before we move on, here again is the summary of the 6 great laws of nature, those simple yet profound laws at the heart of our universe and life, and we've put this summary in at the end of each presentation in case you'd just like to have a reminder overview of all the 6 laws that we're looking at, or in case you've dropped into the series in the middle of it and you'd just like to see the other key laws that we're talking about in the rest of the series. So here we are. We've been looking at 5, the fivefold pentagram, particularly in the human design and human life, as well as other aspects of nature. And now we're going to move on to look at 7, to do with the sevenfold colors of the spectrum. Okay, so on we go.